I'm going to tell you how I made over $400,000 as a content creator and how you can do the exact same. The advice in this video is going to touch on tons of different things. So, right, picking the right niche. Should you even pick a niche? Knowing who your audience is, filling a gap, getting money, making money, no matter how many followers you have. How often you really should be posting and doesn't matter. How to make money with brands, with corporations, with speaking opportunities, literally every single thing. And I'm telling you this because I have done it. I'm telling you this because I've done it. And so we're going to go step by step. So buckle up, buckle in, get your little notepad, computer, iPad, whatever it is that you're going to need to take notes, because you're going to want to catch every little bit of this video, because I promise you, this is more than likely not going to be things that you have heard before. So jumping right in. First and foremost, I want to make this point up front that majority of content creators you see online are not making six figures. I think the content creators who are making really good money, who are making like significant amounts of money online, are in the minority, but they are overrepresented online because that's who's in front of you. That's who your feed is. That's who you like watching. And that is all great. But the first thing you need to know is that is not the majority, right? And so don't immediately jump into this thing like, I'm going to make multiple six figures. That's what I'm like, right? It's possible. And that's what I'm here to teach you how to get to. But know that that is not the reality for most creators. And most creators or influencers do not even make enough to not have a full-time job or other job along with content creation. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit, right? Your full-time job versus like content creation and how to balance those things. So that's going to be important. But I did want to start off with that very important point. The next point is to also realize that social media is fake, right? And I made a TikTok about this, but like what you see on social media, you don't know what's real and what's fake. Now, let me say that some people are really doing really well. Like, so with some of what you see, it's true. They are having these great lives. They are living exactly how they show you they're living. And that is wonderful. And I love that. I love watching those. But a lot of times, as much as there is realness, there is fakeness. People are renting out the houses they live in or film content in solely for the purpose of filming content. People are renting designer items solely for the purpose of pretending like they have this designer $1 million collection, whatever, and then just keeping it for the video and then going and return it, right? So also, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but my piece of advice for you is just manage expectations and know that not necessarily, although there are real, again, not necessarily everything you see is real. Okay? With that being said, the reason a lot of content creators online are not actually making any money is because they aren't treating content creation like a business. Content creation, influencing, whatever you want to call it, it is a business. It is a business, right? This is one of the biggest mistakes that content creators or newer influencers make in the first instance, is not treating what they are doing like a business. And what I mean by that is they think of a business solely in the traditional sense of like, if I am selling this iPhone, I have a business of selling iPhones. If I'm Apple, I have a business. If I'm selling a product, a clothing line, perfume, makeup, whatever, then I have a business. And that is not the only definition of a business. That is not the only way to have a business. If you are selling something that you are expecting to get money for, then you have a business. Even if you are not actively selling, if you are getting money for delivering a service, you have a business. Right? So content creation is a business, and that is how you have to treat it. You are the service. If you want brands to give you money, you are selling yourself. You are selling your platform. I don't like the word like selling yourself, but you are giving something to those brands in exchange for money. If you're a speaker, you're speaking in exchange for money. If you're a partner with corporations, you're doing that in exchange for money. You have to treat content creation and influencing like a business. The minute you start treating it like a business, everything changes and you will start acting accordingly. Okay. So that's the first thing, is recognize that content creation is a business and you have to start treating it like a business. Number 2, do not quit your full-time job. Do not quit your full-time job, especially if you are just starting out, right? I think too many people, like, either they have a video go viral or they like instantly a hit or something happens and they immediately quit their full-time job. Don't do that. Do not immediately jump to quitting your full-time job for content creation or for influencing. There is a time and a place that will come when you'll know, like, okay, now it's time to leave my full-time job. And there will be some indicators, and I'll talk about those indicators. The first reason you don't want to quit your full-time job is because, number one, your full-time job at the end of the day, it's stable income. It is stable income that you will need to fund your content creation journey or to fund your influencing journey. If you need that new camera, use the money from your full-time job. If you need a new lighting setup, if you need to go travel somewhere, if you need to go do something, use the money from your full-time job to do that. If you don't have that full-time job in place, you don't have that backup security to allow you to fund the content creation you know that you need to do, which may be your true passion. So that's one reason why you need to keep your full-time job. The second thing is, if you leave your full-time job too early, you're going to fall down the trap of having to accept anything that comes your way. And I mean, like, you're going to accept brands you maybe wouldn't want to work with, or you're going to have to accept partnerships you maybe really wouldn't want to do because you need the money, right? So you're taking your brand, you're taking your content creation down a path that you otherwise would not have done, but for the money, right? And so if you keep your full-time job, you avoid that hassle of having to take these opportunities that you know in the long run aren't a part of who you want your brand to be. The reason that is very important is because you have to have a strong idea of what your brand is going to be. You have to have that very, very strong idea. The next reason you don't want to quit your job is because, again, even if you have brand deals starting to roll in and you're getting money from content creation, you never want to rely on just one income source when that income source is brand deals. Because brands can decide to stop partnering with you at any given moment. Brands can decide they're not doing content creators anymore. Brands can decide they're not giving money to influencers anymore. Brands could literally decide to just stop, and then you would be out of an income source, right? And so there is a way to properly approach it, but that's not it. Even if you see brand deals come in relatively quickly, and I'm going to be talking about that for you, don't immediately quit your job because, oh my gosh, I had like a 5K month, a 10K month from brand deals, because that is not sufficient. You want something a little bit more stable, and you can use this to build something more stable, but that's what we're going to get to in like part 6 or 7 or section 6 or 7 of this video. Okay. So that was number 2. Don't quit your full-time job so soon. What I will say on this point, you're like, oh, but maybe Sephora, my full-time job doesn't give me any time to build my brand or to build my influencing journey. Well, I have 2 things to say here. Number 1 is it probably does. You just need to create an accurate schedule and be more diligent about how to do it. And I'm saying that because I was working full-time as an attorney while I built my business, while I built my own brand and my content creation, and I was able to do it. So there is a way, I promise. But if you're really like, nope, can't do it, then maybe you get a different full-time job that will give you more flexibility. Maybe you waitress, maybe you be a server. And waitresses, if you're waitressing at a good restaurant, you can make a good amount of money. Okay, on to step 3. Step 3 is you have to have a strong idea of your brand. This is so important if you want to build a content creation business or become an influencer that is making multi-6 figures. You have to have a strong concept or a strong brand or personal brand. So know what your personal brand is. And the reason I'm separating this out from niche, because we're going to talk about niche in step 4, but personal brand is who you are and who you represent and what your audience knows you as, right? And really what you want your audience to know you as. A niche is what you post about, right? So the 2 things are a little bit different, right? So when you're thinking about your personal brand, who are you and what do you represent? And I'm going to use some really, really drastic, like diametrically opposed examples here, just to make it super clear to you on what different personal brands could look like. So on one hand, you have Hot Topic. And I would say Hot Topic's branding or personal branding or business branding is very like more catered to the gothic or the emo or the punk, like that kind of look, versus Aritzia, which very much caters to the professional, the corporate professional, the sedity, maybe even, right? 2 kind of different things, 2 kind of different audiences that are being catered to, right? And so that's what I mean when I say personal brand. Who are you catering to? And I think too many people don't have a strong enough personal brand. And you could say, oh, but Sephora, what if I'm both Afro-punk and corporate professional? Well, you're probably going to need to pick one, because those 2 things cater to 2 different audiences. Or if you wanted to do both, you would need 2 different social media channels, like 2 different accounts, one solely dedicated to the hot topic, one solely dedicated to the Aritzia, or even like instead of Aritzia, I could have used Oakenford, right? So again, you have to have a clear idea of what your personal brand is before you even get into this, because that's going to be so important. You can't be wishy-washy. You can't be flippy-floppy. Like if I go to your page and I see something I like, or you come on my explore page and I see something I like, and I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. But then I go to your page and the rest of your stuff is completely opposite. I'm going to be very confused, and you're not going to get a follower, subscriber, anything out of me. Okay. And so that's why you have to have this clear personal brand. Like I don't want to see a million different things. And this leads us perfectly into number 4, which is your niche. The reason why, again, your niche is separate is because your niche is actually what you were posting about. So your brand is who you are. Your niche is what you post about. You don't have to pick one niche. How you can think about it is your personal brand is the umbrella, and your niche are the things you post about under that umbrella. So it's like the little sticks that are holding up the umbrella. Or maybe a better example would be like a column. So like columns holding up an arch. So the arch is the personal brand, and then the columns are your niches. So for example, if you wanted to say, I love fashion and I love makeup and I love lifestyle, those 3 things would be your niche. Those would be your content pillars. And then the arch is professional, corporate, girly, whatever, free, however you want to describe it, right? But all of those content pillars fit underneath the arch of your personal brand. And when you're thinking about your niche, I actually encourage you to not just pick one thing. I think a lot of people were kind of like niche down, niche all the way down. And I've never been someone who's niched down or niched all the way down. I do think it's important, again, for your niches or your content pillars to fit under your personal brand, but you are a complex person. You like different things. You have multiple interests, and guess what? So does your audience. What you actually need to ask yourself when you're picking a niche, because it's not just one, but for the purpose of this, I'm just going to say niche singular. When you're picking a niche is, would my audience be interested in all of these different content pillars? And if you yourself fit or have a very strong personal brand, it's going to be easy to say, yes, all of my audience fits within these content pillars or would enjoy these content pillars. So I'll use myself as an example because I post about, I think, a variety of different things, right? So my brand, my personal brand, is very much catered to the ambitious, wealthy woman who is committed to up-leveling in every aspect of her life, right? That's just a very, very broad way of describing my personal brand. But under that personal brand, like I post about fashion. You'll see me posting like my outfits of the day, what I wear to work, my law firm outfits, even my casual outfits. Sometimes I do get ready with me, right? Like my makeup, because I love doing my makeup. I talk a lot about finances, financial freedom, building wealth, and getting to wealth. And I also talk about law school. All 4 of those things fits under my personal brand. And all 4 of those things, like wealth and finances, lifestyle content, and maybe like corporate or just career stuff, all of those fit under my personal brand and are likely to attract the same type of person. Ambitious woman, people who are dedicated to increasing or up-leveling in every aspect of their lives, women who want to better themselves, be the best versions of themselves. All of those pillars fit under my personal brand and are likely to cater to people who are interested in the type of content that I post. So that's what I mean when I say you don't need to pick one niche, but pick things that the same audience would be interested in so that everything you post draws them in. And don't feel like you have to be stuck to what you pick forever. Like you can shift as you evolve, and as you grow, you will shift. And so that's to be expected. And that's why I don't think you really, really need to niche all the way down. Plus the other downside of niching all the way down is you're going to get stuck. Like if you only post about one thing all the time, you're either going to get tired of it or you're going to say, I don't have anything to post. So giving yourself a variety of content pillars is going to open up the variety of posts that you can make and how often you're able to post and how creative you can be. So I think that was number 4, which is niche. So now we move on to number 5, which is choosing your platform. This one I think is super duper important because a lot of people, when they're trying to grow their personal brand, they're trying to grow their content creation, they're trying to make money from content creation and influencing, they immediately jump to every single platform all at once. I'm going to join Threads and post on Threads. I'm going to do Instagram. I'm going to do TikTok. I'm going to do YouTube. I'm going to do Facebook. I'm going to do X, right? They're choosing all the platforms. And honestly, especially if you're working a full full-time job, that's a lot and it's probably too much. It's probably too much. Like, yes, you can definitely repurpose, like for instance, what you post on TikTok can go on YouTube Shorts and can go on Instagram Reels and et cetera, et cetera. But I would really, really hone in on a 2, max 3, literally max 3, but I would really, really hone in on 2 platforms. And the way you want to choose those 2 platforms, I personally would suggest 1 long form and 1 short form. But even if it's not 1 long form, pick 2 platforms that are catered to your strengths. I think too many people jump to what they think is popular, but you should pick a platform that's catered to your strength, because you can succeed on any platform if you put in the effort and you're producing good and quality content. So for example, if you're a video person, I've always been a video person. I love videos. I love talking, love running my mouth. If you can't tell, then maybe your platform of choice is TikTok and YouTube, because they're video platforms. Like, people go on there and expect to watch videos. And so maybe those are the 2 platforms you go for. But maybe you're like, I don't want to do YouTube because I'm not ready for long form. So maybe you just do TikTok and Instagram and you repurpose your Reels as TikToks and your TikToks as Reels, right? But the purpose here is a divided attention is exactly that. It slows your growth because your attention is divided. If you can hone in on 2 platforms and really grow those 2 platforms, you're going to do a lot better. If you're not a video person and you're more of a writing person, choose Threads in Facebook, or choose Threads in X, or choose Threads in Instagram and share your written posts as carousels, whatever it may be. The point is, choose platforms that are catered to your strengths, because once you grow those 2 platforms, you can I shouldn't say easily, but you can much easier grow on those other platforms later, because you can just tell your already built audience, hey, come join me on this platform, instead of having to start all of the platforms from scratch all at once. And you'll see this all the time, right? You literally see this all the time. Like, some of my favorite YouTubers, Jackie Asamoah, I really hope I'm saying her last name correctly, who all started out on YouTube and then migrated over to the other platforms, and their audience just came with them, right? They didn't have to beg or hustle or whatever. At least not, they worked very, very hard, but it wasn't as difficult because they weren't starting from scratch, because they already had these huge platforms on YouTube. Like, I followed Jackie on YouTube. Then when she made a TikTok follow, she didn't even have to ask. Just hit the follow button, So don't worry about trying to do everything all at once. Number 6, the next thing you need to do is you need to create a schedule. Now, if you can post every day, that is ideal, but I'm not even going to tell you that that's mandatory, because people will come on here and tell you have to post every single day. You have to post every single day. But what it means to me is, if you can post quality content every single day within your schedule, then yes, do that. If you cannot post quality content every single day, it is better for you to post less, maybe 3 to 5 times a week, or 2 to 4, 2 to 3 times a week, quality content per week, than to dilute the quality of what you're posting just for the sake of posting, right? So that just post every day, just consistency. Like, yes, consistency, but consistency in quality as well. So you can't dilute your quality just for the sake of consistency. Like, when I was growing my personal brand, I definitely wasn't posting every day. I was not. For my Topping the Curve, so my actual business, which is business/content creation, because that's literally how I make my money in my business. It's content creation. And again, I'm going to get into more of the audience stuff there, but I'm not going out into the real world to make money. I'm making my money through my business, which is content creation. Right? But anyway, the point is, when I was doing and building and Topping the Curve from scratch, I did post every day, but it was quality content every day. When I started building my personal brand separately, I did not post every day. Sometimes I didn't even post a week. Now, don't go a week without posting if you can. But the point is here, quality content will get you further, especially if the goal is to make money, right? If your goal is just to get followers, then sure. Who cares? Maybe post as much as you want, as often as you want. But followers do not equate to money. Followers do not equate to money. I know and can tell you people who have hundreds of thousands of followers who haven't even made half as much money as I've made. I saw the other day on TikTok a management PR person, whatever, talking about how they paid an influencer with over 1 million followers, 25 grand to host an event, and like 6 of her followers showed up. Right? Followers do not equate to money. When you are trying to make money, you have to focus on what matters. And that leads me into our next step, which is number 7, your audience. You have to build a loyal audience. You have to build a loyal following. What this means is you can't post selfish content. Post what your audience wants to see. Post what your followers want to see. And guys, this is like the biggest thing. Engage. Engage with your followers. Engage with your audience. If you are trying to build and people are commenting and you are not responding to those comments, that's discouraging. Why are they going to keep commenting? If you really want to grow, and especially if you're in these beginning stages, you need to be commenting back. You need to be commenting or replying to their comments, right? Because you're trying to grow. You're trying to build a loyal audience. You're trying to build a following here. You have to engage. And not only engage with the people who are commenting on your videos, but you have to engage with other people's videos. You have to engage with other people on the platform. And really what that is doing is, honestly, that's for the sake of the algorithm. That's for the sake of the actual social media platform, because the goal of these social media platforms is to keep people on social media. And if they see that you're engaging, then they're going to take that as a sign to push out your video. And I have the perfect example of this. Every single time I go live, either on YouTube or on TikTok, my video gets pushed out. Every single time, without a doubt. Like if my video's doing poorly and then I go live, all of a sudden my video's doing well. Like every single time it gets pushed out. And that shows you, that tells you they like when you're on the platform. They like when you're engaging. They like when you're using the features they have. They push out your content more. So do that. Don't just watch videos and be a lurker. Like if you like the video, if you like this video, leave comments, like the video, share the video. That signals to the social media platforms. You don't even have to do it on this video. You should, and I want you to, but other videos, right? Especially if you're trying to grow, because again, they like that and it pushes out your content in turn. Number 8 is to actually start posting. This one is like dysphoria. But the point here is when you actually start posting, you need to make sure that you're posting within your niches, right? So within those niches that you chose, hopefully you've written them down. If not, then after you finish watching this video, make sure you go and write out your plan. But you need to post a piece from every single one of those content pillars. Like if you're only doing the fashion content, but you're also wanting one of your content pillars to be makeup, your audience is not going to know that you're doing makeup. The brands aren't going to know that you're doing makeup. If you want to be a speaker and book speaking gigs, but you never do speaking videos, you never talk, they're not going to know that you do that. So you have to post what you want. And that's why it's also very important to have a strong idea of 1, your personal brand, and 2, what your content pillars are, because you actually have to be posting that kind of content. And so usually, let's just say you're posting 3 times a week, then I would expect to see 1 video from each of those content pillars every single week. And again, unless you can maintain that quality every single day, then just don't post every single day. Post 3 to 5 times a week instead. Definitely still be consistent. Try to not skip a week, but be consistent in terms of quality and post from all of your content pillars. Once you've built up enough on your platform, enough on your page, and I would say once you've hit between 1,000 and 5,000 followers, it depends on the niche you're in or the niche you've chosen, your personal brand, whatever. Then that's when you can go to step number 9, which is actually where you will start making money. Now, before I jump to step number 9, a little piece of advice on the posting and then the niching and the things like that. Try to pick a niche, not only that you're passionate about, but also that you are an expert in. So if you do really good makeup, that's kind of a no-brainer. Like for me, I'm an attorney. I have a big law job. I worked in federal clerkships. It was literally a no-brainer, right? And so try to pick a niche that you're also an expert in, because then that carries with it that extra oomph that brands are going to like, that corporations are going to like, and it's going to make it easier for you to get money. And that's why I say when you're doing that, when you're picking all of these things correctly, your follower count won't matter. Now to number 9, which is actually where you're making money. Here, you have to know who your audience is. So everyone will have different goals. If you want your audience to mainly be brands, like you want to mainly be bringing in brand deals, start reaching out to brands. What I suggest doing is making a list, an Excel sheet of all the brands you want to reach out to, and start collecting their emails or their Instagram accounts or their social media accounts, so you can reach out to them via email and you can reach out to them on social media. Then you can start pitching them. Keep your pitch short. Keep your pitch short. It doesn't need to be an entire page long. Short. Just keep your pitch short. You can pitch them on email. You can pitch them in their social media inboxes. For some of you, you're not only going to be pitching brands, you're also going to be pitching corporations or speaking gigs, conferences, events to talk about whatever your niche is, right? And so for me, I speak at schools, I speak at undergraduate schools, I speak at law schools, I speak at events, right? And so different things like that, you can make money from that. It doesn't matter your following so long as you have proof of concept, so long as you have that expertise and that showcase on your page, right? And if you're at the beginning stages and maybe you're like, oh, but I don't have like anything to show for it, all I have is my Instagram page, all I have is my social media, then you can actually start volunteering to do things for free, right? Or to showcase things for free. So you can get on PR lists for free. You can do all of that for free. And what I also recommend when you're posting and as you're reaching out to brands, when you're reaching out to brands, try to have showcased their product already or use their product organically in your videos already, right? So when you're thinking about posting, if you're posting fashion content, pick a brand and do an outfit video in that brand's outfit, whatever. And so then when you're emailing them and they go to your page, you already have a video on it. Or you can show them like, hey, like this is an example of what I've done before, right? So you have to show these brands or these corporations or these event places or whatever it may be that you already done something similar and you can do it for them. And again, don't like immediately jump for the biggest brands if you know you're just getting started and you're in that 1,000 or 5,000 to 10,000 follower range. And I'll give you like literally a concrete example. A couple months ago, I had like 2K, maybe, like I think at the time of this film we have like 2.8 subscribers on YouTube, something like that. I have had brands reach out to me to partner with them on YouTube with only 2,000 subscribers and offered to pay me multiple four figures. I turned it down. I turned it down just because it wasn't what I was looking for. And again, that's again a perk of having a full-time job, but I only had 2,000 subscribers, but my video quality was good. I showcased my expertise. I knew what I was talking about. And I made it known to the brand that I would be a good person to partner with through what I was producing. Right. And so I didn't even reach out to that brand. They reached out to me. Same thing on my Instagram. I don't even know how many Instagram followers I have, like around 4,000 at the time of this filming. A brand reached out to me to partner with them on Instagram. Again, I turned it down, and I'm not going to say the name of the brand, but I turned it down because that business, it's like a clothing, but they sell more than clothing. They sell like a lot of different stuff. They even sell like house items, whatever. But what they represented or kind of how that business presented themselves didn't align with what my personal brand is. And so I turned it down, right? But that's just some concrete examples for you. I literally had 2,000 on YouTube, 4,000 on Instagram, and I was getting brand deals or brand offers coming to me without me pitching them, right? And so imagine if you start pitching, and you should pitch, and I definitely do pitch. I got my speaking opportunities at schools and corporations and such like that from pitching, right? So that pitching, that's how I got them, and you can do that. It's not like you have to wait for them to come to you. The next thing that you have to do here is make sure you are tagging the brands or tagging the corporations or tagging the events or whoever it is so that they know you exist. Like it seems obvious, and you can literally go to my page and see this, but every single time I post an outfit video, I will tag who's like which brands I'm wearing in that outfit video. And some of the brands, they comment every single time. So that I'm already on their radar, and all I've been doing is tagging them. Make sure you are tagging the brands in your content. I feel like that's a big one that a lot of people don't do, that a lot of people miss. Make sure you do it. Number 11, and the final thing here, is to realize that it takes time. So I kind of interchangeably, and I say this all the time, I use content creation and my business kind of interchangeably, like I combine them together. Like I said at the beginning or middle of this video, my business is content creation. Like I have a law school coaching business, but how I make my money is through content creation. So by definition, I am a content creator, right? I use them interchangeably, but all content creators should treat content creation like a business, right? So recognize that it takes time. I grew my business / content creator, whatever, to over $400,000 using this exact method, using these exact steps. I have other videos on it that don't relate to the content creation piece, but relate more to the actual business aspects of it that you can go watch if you actually want to format your money earning journey as a business, which is what I did. I have more videos on that, but recognize that it takes time. I made over $400,000 in 2024, but I believe in 2023, it was a little over 100,000. I believe in 2022, which is when I started it, and I started it in like August, it was under 20,000 or something along those lines. So it does take time. So recognize that it takes time. And unless you have like a video go extremely viral, then you are going to need to allow it time for these things to come into place, for these things to start working. Like, for example, some of my first speaking gigs, it took a couple of months for me to get them, right? It took a couple of months for me to get on their radar. I was doing some things like for free or for low cost to help get on their radar, to help doing that. My content creation journey has always been following these steps. So I hope you guys find this video helpful. And if you did, the next video you should watch is how I balance running a multiple six-figure business while working full-time as an attorney. And that video will literally give you insight into how I do it, how you can do it for yourself, how I record my content, how I batch my content, how I schedule things out, and everything along those lines. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to engage. Follow me on my other social media at Sephora Gray Esquire. It's ESQ for short. And I will see you on my next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.